Have you ever hated someone so much that you wanted them to disappear from your life? Of course, everyone has felt that way at least once, right? Maybe they treated you terribly or even ruined your life. But what if it was just because they slapped you? This is the case we're delving into today. Chen Ping, 45 years old, was a wealthy man with assets worth tens of millions of USD. He was married with 3 children, 2 daughters and a son. Both Chen Ping and his wife were investors involved in local real estate development projects, and they also owned multiple properties in Guang'an and Chengdu. To those around them, the couple seemed to have a great relationship, and their family life appeared harmonious. However, no one could have imagined that behind this facade of a perfect life lay a horrifying truth. It was not until March 21st, 2008 that this truth came to light. In a grand mansion belonging to the Chen family in Yueqi County, Guang'an City, Sichuan Province, it was past 11 p.m. Chen Ping's daughter had just returned home after spending time with friends. She was heading to her room when she noticed something unusual in her father's room. When she stepped inside to check, she found her father, Chen Ping, dead on his bed. Terrified, she immediately called the police. When the investigators arrived, the crime scene was Chen Ping's bedroom. His hands were still tied to the bed. A preliminary examination by the forensic doctor revealed a scar on his forehead caused by a strong impact. However, the actual cause of death was suffocation, as his mouth and nose had been taped shut. Upon further investigation, police found signs of theft on the wardrobe and the table in the bedroom. Items stolen included 2 of Chen Ping's mobile phones, a few thousand yuan in cash, and a bank book. Strangely, there were no suspicious fingerprints in the room, nor were there any signs of forced entry through doors or windows. Additionally, the forensic doctor discovered some blood stains at the crime scene that had not yet dried. Unfortunately, DNA tests revealed that the blood belonged to Chen Ping himself. This finding stunned the criminal investigation team. Given Chen Ping's excellent physical condition, he had served in the military in his youth, so it wouldn't have been easy for the assailant to overpower him without sustaining injuries. Police theorized 2 possible scenarios. 1. The killer might have had sharp weapons or firearms to coerce Chen Ping into submission. 2. The perpetrator might have been someone familiar to Chen Ping, catching him off guard with an unexpected attack. Based on the investigation, the police initially identified the case as a premeditated robbery and murder. However, as the investigation progressed, they discovered that the truth behind the case was far more complex. At the crime scene, although the killer had erased all fingerprints, but forensic experts found several chaotic footprints on the bedroom floor. After analyzing and comparing the footprints, they concluded that at least 2 individuals were present at the scene to commit the crime. The suspects were estimated to be between 1.65 and 1.75 meters tall. The police then questioned Chen Ping's family. According to their accounts, on the morning of the incident, Chen Ping had traveled from Dazhou to Nancheng. After a brief stop, he returned to Yueqi in the afternoon. That evening, he had dinner with a few friends at a restaurant. The investigation focused on one friend in particular, Zhang Yongsheng. Zhang stated that at around 5 p.m. on the day of the incident, Chen Ping had called him and invited him to have hot pot. At about 6 p.m., Chen Ping and a few other friends met in a private room at the restaurant. Zhang Yongsheng stated that the dinner ended around 8 p.m., after which he and a few other friends went home. Based on the time, Chen Ping's daughter called the police, which was 11:30 p.m. that night. It meant the window for Chen Ping's murder was between 8 o'clock and 11:30 p.m. The police believed that those who interacted with Chen Ping during this time frame were highly likely to be suspects or at least involved in the case. Sure enough, after further questioning, the police identified another friend of Chen Ping's named Chen Hua. Chen Hua, also 42 years old, was from the same village as Chen Ping. Recalling the events of that night, Chen Hua said that after the dinner, he and Chen Ping went to a nearby karaoke bar, KTV, to sing together. After singing, Chen Ping drove Chen Hua home. Chen Hua clearly remembered arriving home at around 10:15 p.m., after which Chen Ping drove off alone. This narrowed the time of the murder even further, from 10:15 to 11:30 p.m., leaving just a 75-minute window. Although Chen Hua was eliminated as a suspect, he told the police that another woman named Yang Meifeng had been singing with Chen Ping that evening. Yang Meifeng was also from Yueqi. According to her account, she had known Chen Ping for over 3 years and was in a romantic relationship with him. Given this secret relationship, the police couldn't help but suspect that she might have killed Chen Ping due to a lover's quarrel. However, the footprints at the crime scene did not match Yang Meifeng's profile. Moreover, according to Xinhua, the relationship between Yang Meifeng and Chen Ping had always been harmonious. As a result, the police concluded that Yang Meifeng had no clear motive for committing the crime and, based on the timeline, she also had an alibi. The investigation hit a dead end. The police had no choice but to redirect their efforts back to the crime scene. Sure enough, at Chen Ping's home, they uncovered some shocking secrets. After a thorough search, the police found a handbag under the bed in Chen Ping's bedroom. Inside the bag were large bundles of cash glued together, several medicine bottles, and a sample of counterfeit money. These findings raised new suspicions. Was Chen Ping involved in illegal activities, such as producing counterfeit money? Could conflicts over profit sharing with accomplices have led to his murder? If this were true, the case might conceal far more secrets than it initially appeared. The police immediately sent the evidence to the relevant authorities for verification. It was discovered that the bundle cash was all officially issued by banks, and while the counterfeit money samples were crudely made, they were not convincing enough to pass as real currency. The police continued to search for additional evidence at the crime scene and eventually found something significant. Inside the TV cabinet in the living room, they discovered an old file bag containing numerous documents, including a driver's license, ID card, and an officer's certificate. All these documents featured Chen Ping's portrait, but the names, dates of birth, addresses, and titles on them varied. After verifying each document, the police confirmed that they were all fake. Additionally, they found a large number of counterfeit government documents at Chen Ping's home. Why would a wealthy real estate businessman with assets worth tens of millions of dollars need to create so many fake documents and certificates? Could there be a hidden secret behind his vast fortune? With access to the call logs from Chen Ping's mobile phones, the police launched a larger investigation into his true activities. It turned out that Chen Ping, a millionaire, had been involved in a series of fraudulent schemes across multiple cities. Most of his victims were women. Chen Ping would first target them through social media, then gradually gain their trust through conversations and interactions. After successfully gaining the victims' trust, Chen Ping would deliberately travel to their city, fabricating a story about being in charge of a national construction project. Next, Chen Ping would invite the victim to meet in person. During these meetings, he presented himself as a wealthy and successful individual through displays of generosity and persuasive communication. To further convince the victim, he would even show fabricated documents to prove his identity. Finally, he would feign an urgent need for money, claiming it was to resolve a pressing issue. Unsuspecting women, blinded by his charm, would quickly fall into his trap. Once he had the money, Chen Ping would vanish without a trace. By forging identification documents, Chen Ping managed to deceive numerous victims in various locations. The police speculated that one of his victims might have murdered him out of revenge. While this theory was plausible, but Chen Ping's methods were so sophisticated that the investigating officers struggled to determine the full extent of his fraudulent activities. How many times he had committed fraud, how many victims there were, and how much money he had stolen. The case grew increasingly complex. The police decided to focus their efforts on interrogating Chen Ping's family in hopes of uncovering new leads. What they discovered was yet another secret about Chen Ping. It turned out that Chen Ping and Zhu Hong had finalized their divorce a year earlier. According to Zhu Hong, the couple had earned a substantial amount of money from local real estate development projects. However, Chen Ping eventually stopped working, spending his time indulging in leisure and entertainment. Over time, Zhu Hong could no longer tolerate his behavior, leading to their divorce. To avoid disrupting their child's upbringing, so they reluctantly continued living together. Zhu Hong also revealed that their divorce agreement stipulated a penalty of 1 million yuan for either party if they disclosed their divorce to others. This explained why Zhu Hong, as Chen Ping's wife, turned a blind eye to his deceitful activities involving women and money. Despite investigating all individuals linked to the case, the police had yet to make any breakthroughs. They decided to revert to traditional investigative methods. When gathering statements from local residents, several elderly women provided valuable information. Before the crime occurred, they occasionally saw two suspicious men frequently loitering near Chen Ping's house. Following this lead, the police conducted an in-depth investigation near the crime scene. It turned out that two suspicious individuals had indeed been seen in the area. One of them was spotted using a public phone at a nearby shop. Records showed that at 9 p.m. on the night of the incident, the public phone was used to call a landline number. 30 minutes later, another call was made to a different landline. After verifying the registration details, both numbers were traced to addresses in Qinzhong Village, Huangdu Town, Yingshan County, in Nancheng City. The police believe that these two individuals seen near the crime scene were closely connected to the case, and that the calls they made could provide critical clues to unravel the mystery. To uncover the truth as quickly as possible, the investigators headed to Qinzhong Village. They located the registered address of one of the landline numbers, which turned out to be a public phone in a snack shop. However, due to the high number of people who had used the phone at that time, no valuable information was obtained. When investigating individuals with prior criminal records in the area, the police focused on a man named Chen Shan from Qinzhong Village. He had previously been sent to a re-education camp for involvement in a fight and had since worked in Guangdong province. The police visited Chen Shan's parents, who revealed that he had unexpectedly returned home on March 22, 2008, the day after the incident. However, he left in a hurry shortly afterward. This sequence of events further deepened the police's suspicion. They searched Chen Shan's parents' house and found a mobile phone which was identified by Chen Ping's family as the one the victim had used while alive. At this point, the police determined that Chen Shan was the primary suspect in Chen Ping's death. Shortly afterward, he was officially apprehended in Guangdong province. Initially, during interrogation, Chen Shan completely denied his involvement. However, when police found another mobile phone at his residence, which also belonged to Chen Ping, he could no longer maintain his defense. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Chen Shan's psychological defenses crumbled. He confessed to his crimes and revealed the identity of another suspect, Jiang Wenxue. The police later arrested Jiang Wenxue in Longyan City, Fujian province. In the interrogation room, when questioned by the police, both Chen Shan and Jiang Wenxue confessed, revealing the entire truth. The motive for the crime was entirely unexpected. It was orchestrated by a mastermind, Kai Chi Hong. Kai Chi Hong, known as Boss Kai, was a prominent figure in Yueqi County. According to his confession, in 2005, 3 years prior, he had entered into a business partnership with Chen Ping and his wife, Zhu Hong. Together, they developed real estate projects in Yueqi County, earning significant profits. However, one day in 2007, Kai Chi Hong had a fierce argument with Zhu Hong at a construction site. In public, Zhu Hong slapped Kai Chi Hong across the face. Kai, humiliated and enraged, tried to retaliate, but was stopped by bystanders. For a man of his social stature, being struck by a woman in broad daylight was intolerable. Seeking revenge, he instructed Peng Shanshan, a subordinate who managed a local martial arts school, to plan retaliation against Zhu Hong. Peng Shanshan then asked one of his trainees, Wang Ba, to find 2 thugs for the job, one of whom was Jiang Wenxue. However, they soon realized that Zhu Hong was always accompanied by others, making it difficult to act. Their first attempt failed. Jiang Wenxue then reached out to Chen Shan, a former acquaintance from their days working in Guangdong. Together, the two devised a new plan. A few days before the incident, Chen Shan and Jiang Wenxue scouted the area around Zhu Hong's house. During one of these visits, Chen Shan noticed a power switch outside Zhu Hong's house and came up with an idea. The plan was to cut the power to the house in the evening while Zhu Hong was home. Naturally, she would step outside to check, allowing them to ambush her with knives. On the night of March 21st, 2008, the two hid outside the house for a long time. However, at around 10:30 p.m., it was not Zhu Hong who emerged but Chen Ping. Unaware of the divorce, the two thugs assumed that harming the husband would suffice if they couldn't get to the wife. Acting on this assumption, they pulled out a fake gun to threaten Chen Ping, successfully forcing their way into the house. Inside Chen Ping's bedroom, the two men brutally beat him. They then bound his hands and feet with iron wire and tape, gagged his mouth to prevent him from shouting, and ransacked the house for valuables before fleeing. Ironically, whether due to karma for Chen Ping's past misdeeds or sheer bad luck, the earlier power outage left the house in complete darkness. In their haste, the two failed to notice that the tape meant to silence Chen Ping also covered his nose, cutting off his ability to breathe. As a result, he suffocated to death. A year later, in 2009, the Guang'an Intermediate People's Court in Sichuan Province sentenced Chen Ping and Jiang Wenxue to death for intentional assault. However, 2 years later, their sentences were commuted to life imprisonment along with lifelong deprivation of political rights and a fine of 1,000 yuan. Gai Hong, the mastermind behind the crime, received a 10-year prison sentence. In July 2011, in Xinjiang County, Shaoxing City, Zhejiang Province, Peng Shanchun, an accomplice who had been on the run for 3 years, was apprehended by Yueqi police and brought to justice. At this point, all individuals involved in the case had faced consequences for their actions. Ultimately, did all this tragedy stem from a single slap? If everyone were to act like Kai Chi Hong, human life might lose all its value. While personal honor can be important, sacrificing humanity to protect one's pride comes at an unbearably bitter cost. What are your thoughts on this story? Share them in the comments below, and don't forget to support us by liking the video and subscribing to our channel. See you in the next video.